from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. Whether obviously we know she deserves it, but in their eyes, whether they think she deserves it or not, like, she's being handed as the face of the league.
Watching Caitlin Clark feels like watching Larry Bird all over again.
When Michael Jordan compares you to Larry Bird, you know you're doing something special. For Caitlin Clark, the similarities are clear: elite vision, fearless playmaking, and the ability to turn pressure into fuel. She's not just playing basketball, she's carrying a league, reshaping a sport, and drawing a new generation to the WNBA. Every arena she enters is packed, every feed flooded with her highlights. The spotlight brings criticism, but she keeps showing up, delivering, and proving the league has never seen anyone like her. Even Pacers star Tyrese Haliburton sees it. From one point guard to another, he knows leadership means more than points. It's about presence, tone, and resilience. His take on Caitlin? Pure support.
I think she's just so amazing what she does. I love being here to support her in any way I can, and I think we're just 2 point guards trying to lead our groups to do something special. So any way I can be here.
Two floor generals, recognizing the grind in each other. Caitlin Clark isn't just trying to survive in the WNBA, she's directing traffic, taking hits, and lifting the fever the way Tyrese Haliburton has lifted the Pacers. What makes it powerful is that Tyrese sees it. When one of the NBA's smartest young stars stands beside you, not above you, that's real recognition. Indiana doesn't have one leader, it has two. And sometimes the most telling stat isn't in the box score, it's who shows up beside you. Even Jason Whitlock weighed in, saying out loud what most players keep behind the scenes.
Put a super team around Caitlin Clark because people want to play with Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
The Chicago Sky, they look perhaps worse than they were a year ago because people don't want to play with Angel.
Caitlin Clark isn't just attracting fans, she's attracting talent. That's a rare kind of pull. The Fever didn't need a big market or playoff history, they just needed Caitlin. In free agency, it's about more than money, it's culture, chemistry, and trust. And Clark checks every box. Whitlock's point goes beyond Caitlin versus Angel, it's about where the league is headed. Teams aren't just signing stars, they're building around personalities. And Caitlin's personality, humble, hungry, and headline-worthy, is the blueprint. Players don't just want to watch her, they want to play with her. In sports, there's basketball fame, earned with MVPs and playoff runs, and cultural fame, the kind that makes you a household name far beyond the game. Right now, Caitlin Clark owns that second kind. She's on cereal boxes, trending during NFL Sundays, dominating platforms that barely touch the WNBA. She's not in LA or New York, she's in Indiana on a rookie deal, and still might be the most talked about player in the country. That's why even Colin Cowherd didn't hesitate to call it what it is, a phenomenon.
How many NBA players are more famous than Caitlin Clark? LeBron, Steph, absolutely.
Maybe Durant.
That's what I put. I wrote down KD maybe.
Yeah.
In 1 year, out of women's basketball, for a horrible team when she arrived, outside of LeBron and Steph, she is the most well-known basketball player currently playing in the United States.
Think about the weight of what Colin Cowherd is saying. In a league full of megastars, million-dollar marketing machines, and global followings, Caitlin Clark is top 3 in name recognition. That's absurd, and it's true. This isn't about win-loss records, it's about who's moving culture. And Clark is doing it faster than anyone we've seen in decades. Cowherd's tone wasn't shocked, it was matter-of-fact, like he was stating what everyone already knows. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's reshaping the ecosystem. And the wild part? She hasn't even hit her ceiling. If you're wondering who's got next, not just in the WNBA but in all of basketball, the answer isn't a maybe, it's Caitlin. Sometimes the biggest sports moments don't come from buzzer beaters or championships. They come from tension, two players with different backgrounds, styles, and energies colliding with the world watching. That's exactly what happened with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And according to Jonathan Isaac, that friction isn't a problem, it's the spark.
Because of Caitlin Clark, has sparked an interest in women's basketball that wasn't completely there before. So I'm happy for that. And so I want to see it play out. I want to see them, continue to grow their careers and be the best female basketball players.
On the surface, it sounds like Jonathan Isaac is giving equal credit to both sides. But let's be honest, if Angel Reese entered the WNBA without Caitlin Clark, it wouldn't even make headlines. Angel's profile skyrocketed because she stood next to Caitlin. The trash talk, the gestures, the fouls, they only mattered because Clark was on the receiving end. Without Caitlin, Angel is just another player searching for a storyline. With Caitlin, she became a viral clip, and that clip gave her career oxygen. The difference? Caitlin never needed her. Clark walked into the league with record-breaking stats, an iconic college career, and a fan base that followed her in force. She didn't borrow hype, she created it. She made the WNBA unavoidable, moved games to prime time, and did it all before the rivalry even existed. So yes, Jonathan's right that the spotlight is brighter than ever. But let's not twist it, media isn't covering Angel Reese and then checking in on Caitlin Clark. It's the other way around. Angel gets attention because Caitlin Clark's name is on the marquee. This isn't a two-woman act, it's a one-woman era. Every league has its turning point. For the NBA, it was Magic and Bird. For women's tennis, Serena. For the UFC, Conor McGregor. For the WNBA, that moment is now, and Rachel Dea didn't hesitate to name the reason why.
2024 was a year of unprecedented growth in viewership in the WNBA, a substantial amount of which can be attributed to Caitlin Clark, who took the basketball world by storm after an all-time college.
This wasn't just a spike in numbers, it was a tidal wave. Arenas that once struggled to fill the lower bowl were suddenly packed to the rafters. Broadcasts that barely cracked six figures were pulling in millions. Entire online ecosystems formed around Caitlin Clark, highlights, interviews, think pieces, and none of it was random. Clark didn't wait for the league to catch up, she brought the spotlight with her. From the moment she put on a Fever jersey, the WNBA felt different. Sometimes talent needs timing, and a player doesn't just join a league, they redefine it. Caitlin Clark, fresh off one of the most legendary college careers ever, somehow exceeded the hype, not just with her game, but with her presence, carrying the weight of a league without blinking. Rachel Data didn't just see a great player, she saw the moment. Whether you watched to cheer her on or see her fail, you watched. For a league waiting years for a breakout, Clark didn't just arrive, she detonated. But not everyone's rolling out the red carpet. For every highlight reel, jersey sellout, and next face of the league headline, there's been pushback. And some of it sounds a lot like what Megan Rapinoe said, subtle, not a direct attack, but the message between the lines was loud and clear.
I want to become the girl, the team, the coach, the player who cries wolf all the time. It's just like, I feel like sometimes it's just like constant. And like, to what end? And I think especially around the Fever team and especially around Caitlin, this has like been a thing. It was a thing last year. Like sometimes you just have to like play through it and like earn a little.
This isn't a critique of Caitlin Clark's jump shot, it's about how she's handling the noise. And maybe Rapinoe, who's taken her own share of firestorms, sees something familiar. She's been on the world stage, in the spotlight, taking hits from every angle. Maybe this was her way of saying, we've all been the target, you've got to deal with it. But under the surface, there's friction. Because while Clark has absolutely been targeted, on the court, off the court, and in the headlines, she's done something few athletes manage, not just survive, but thrive through it. She's taken every hard foul, every headline, every hot take, and just kept hooping. She hasn't asked for pity, hasn't ducked questions, hasn't flinched. So when Rapinoe says, earn a little more respect, the question is, what more does she have to do? She's breaking records, lifting a struggling franchise, carrying the league's media spotlight, and doing it all with the kind of composure that even veterans envy. If the standard is to play through it and earn respect, Clark's been doing that every single night. Every sport has its gods, the ones who don't just dominate, they define the era. Basketball had Jordan, tennis had Serena, football has Messi, hockey has Gretzky, the Great One. Gretzky's dominance was so absurd the NHL literally had to change how it measured stats. He doesn't hand out praise lightly, especially outside hockey.so when Wayne Gretzky, from a completely different sport, looked over and gave Caitlin Clark her flowers. It wasn't just surprising. It was historic.
Caitlin Clark, how she's kept just taken over the country, and for that matter, maybe the world, and how she's encouraged so many young girls now to participate in sports, whether it's basketball or soccer.
That's not just a compliment, it's a passing of the torch. Gretzky knows exactly what that kind of influence looks like. He was that influence. Every kid on the ice in the 80s wanted to be Wayne Gretzky. And when he praises Clark, he doesn't just stick to basketball, he mentions football, volleyball, sports far from his own. That's how you know it's real. This isn't about points per game or pick and rolls, it's about reach. Caitlin Clark is making young girls believe sports can be the dream, not just a side hobby. When a global icon like Gretzky says she's taken over the country, that's not casual praise, that's legacy talk. Few athletes ever hit that level, where their impact leaps out of their own arena and starts changing lives everywhere. Caitlin isn't just growing the WNBA, she's growing the idea of what women's sports can be. And if the great one says it out loud, you know it's already bigger than basketball. Then there are takes, and there are flamethrowers. Ben Shapiro doesn't do soft opinions. He's built a media empire on pushing buttons and challenging narratives. So when he turned his focus to the WNBA, he didn't tiptoe in. To Shapiro, this isn't about offensive sets or player development, it's about visibility. And in his mind, the math is simple: no Caitlin Clark, no spotlight.
Be clear about this. If Caitlin Clark were not in the WNBA, we would not be talking about the WNBA. She is the only ticket draw in the WNBA. A large percentage of all tickets sold in the WNBA are so people can watch Caitlin Clark play basketball. No one cares about Angel Reese. She'd be drawing flies if she were playing not against Caitlin Clark on the court right now. Angel Reese has basically become the Bill Laimbeer to Caitlin Clark's Larry Bird, essentially. That is where we now.
And guess what? He's right. Caitlin Clark isn't a reason the WNBA is booming, she's the reason. She hasn't just boosted ticket sales, she's flipped the entire business model. Everywhere she goes, arenas sell out. Networks that barely glanced at the WNBA are locking in primetime slots. Social media feeds that ignored the league are now flooded with her highlights. The WNBA isn't riding a wave, it's riding her. And that Angel Reese comparison? Think Bill Laimbeer, not just a villain, but a player defined by the stars he faced. Shapiro nailed it. Caitlin isn't part of a rising duo, she's not sharing the spotlight. She is the spotlight. Angel might bring edge, but Caitlin brings eyeballs, energy, and evolution. This isn't a rivalry, it's Clark at the center of the basketball universe, with everyone else trying to keep up. So yeah, Shapiro went nuclear with his delivery, but Clark fans already know the truth. She's the one putting the league on the map, and now comes the moment we've all been waiting for, straight from the greatest to ever play the game. Michael Jordan just said something about Caitlin Clark that changes everything. If you thought the Bird comparisons were just hype, think again. This is the moment.
Watching Caitlin Clark feels like watching Larry Bird all over again. The vision, the passing, the swagger. But this season, there's something else. She's got a sharper edge, a quiet fire. I just hope she keeps that energy and starts biting back at the ones trying to break her.
There it is. When Michael Jordan compares Caitlin Clark to Larry Bird, that's not just praise, it's legacy. And if the GOAT sees it, maybe it's time the rest of the league paid attention. Before Clark, Indiana Fever games were just another date on the calendar. Maybe you'd swing by after work, maybe you'd catch a half-empty arena and a decent game. But there was no buzz. No must-see moment. No sense that something big was happening. Then Caitlin Clark arrived, and everything changed. Nobody captured that transformation better than Pat McAfee, a guy who knows the Indiana sports scene better than anyone.
For Caitlin Clark, I went to a couple Fever games. Was lucky to go. Had a great team. Fever have had a great franchise, great team for a long time. Won, like
2012.
Yeah, won like back in the, I got here 2009. So like the Fever, good program, great fan base. Okay, we're talking, I don't know, maybe 7,000, 10,000 people at those games, you know, in the middle of the week in Gamebridge Arena. Since she has arrived, every game that the Fever play in, that place.
That's not exaggeration. McAfee's been in the building, and he's seen the shift firsthand. What he's describing isn't just a star getting attention, it's a movement. An arena that once echoed is now roaring. Casual fans are turning into season ticket holders. Ticket resale prices are exploding. Entire cities are reshaping their sports calendars around one player. McAfee didn't need stats or fancy metaphors, he just told the truth. Caitlin Clark made Indiana Fever games matter again. And the wild part? She's only getting started. Let's be real, when it comes to NBA star power, Lonzo Ball isn't at the top of the food chain. He's played alongside big names, but his voice doesn't usually shake the league. So when he called Caitlin Clark a top player, it caught attention, not because he said it, but because of how he said it.
Okay. Caitlin Clark is that, for sure.
She is.
I say she top, I want to say top 3, but I'll say top 5 just to be safe.
Let's be honest, that's not exactly a full-throated vote of confidence. And maybe that's the point. If you've spent as much time on the sidelines as Lonzo Ball has in recent years, maybe you're not the best judge of what dominance looks like right now. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark has been playing, selling out arenas, and handling pressure Lonzo never faced, and even then, he still couldn't call her anything less than top 5. That hesitation says more about Caitlin than it does about him. When players see the greatness but can't quite say it, it usually means they know what's happening, they're just not ready to admit how fast it's happening. Clark isn't top 5 for a sophomore. She isn't top 5 for her position. She's top 5, period. And if Lonzo needs a few more games to realize she's top 1, that's fine. The rest of us already know. There's praise, and then there's what Shannon Sharpe does. When he talks about greatness, it's not flowery, it's surgical. He brings numbers, history, and heat. And when he turned his focus to Caitlin Clark, he brought receipts.
10 games in WNBA history, despite only playing 1 year, 2 games. Caitlin Clark has 6, Sabrina Ionescu has 5, DT, the great Diana Taurasi, has 4. Nobody else has more than 2. Clark did it in 44 career games. There've been a lot of back and forth. I think a lot of people didn't want to give her the credit that she deserved, where she needed to play X.
Caitlin Clark isn't just putting up numbers, she's rewriting history. She's done in months what took legends years, and Shannon Sharpe's calling out anyone who said she needed to prove herself. She already has. No extra seasons, no runway, just impact from day one. The critics keep moving the goalposts, but her stats speak louder. Every league needs chaos, and right now, Clark is it. Isaiah Thomas knows the drill. When the spotlight's on, you handle business.
The controversy, is good, and people have picked their sides, and they'll pick their, who they like, who they don't like, why they like them, why they don't like them. But the most important thing is that
when sports get messy and personal, they go mainstream, and Caitlin Clark is right in the middle. From hard fouls to media shade to internet firestorms, she's the headline everyone's talking about. Isaiah Thomas knows the value of that kind of drama, its currency, and Clark is the richest storyline in the game. Most analysts play it safe, but Nick Wright doesn't. When he talked about Clark, he didn't limit it to the WNBA or women's basketball, he put her in the conversation with everyone.
I said this to you last year, that I thought the most famous basketball player under 30 was Caitlin Clark. I don't think it's particularly close. She is demonstrably and inarguably more famous than all of this generation's.
Caitlin Clark isn't just doing commercials, she is the commercial. Her highlights pull Curry-like numbers online, and she's outpacing NBA players with shoe deals, primetime slots, and playoff minutes under their belts. Nick Wright sees it. She's not chasing fame, she's the name people know even if they've never watched a basketball game. She's more than a rising WNBA star, she's becoming the symbol of where basketball is headed. From Tyrese Haliburton's respect to Shannon Sharpe's stats, from Wayne Gretzky's admiration to Ben Shapiro's firestorm, she's pulled the sports world into her orbit. And through it all, she just hoops, no excuses. Clark isn't here to fit in, she's here to take over. Whether the world's cheering or booing, praising or nitpicking, they are all watching. Because Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the WNBA conversation anymore, She is the conversation, and everyone else is trying to keep up.